Hi there. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you joining me. And today I wanted to give a little bit of a personal update. I haven't posted any videos in over a week, and I wanted to kind of share why. And some of the information I'm going to share, I hope will help you. I've been struggling with depression, and it's been just really kind of kicking me while I'm down. Almost 2 weeks ago, so it was just over 2 weeks ago, my son Joey got sick with this stomach bug. And then it hit each of us kind of differently. And then they finally got sent home. My last video was on a Wednesday. Well, shortly after I published that video, I get a call to pick him and Evie up because they had both thrown up and had diarrhea. So Joey just had to be home an extra day on Thursday, and he went back Friday. But Evie, I kept her home Friday because she wasn't quite herself Thursday, and then we had the whole weekend, and then just last week was all trying to get caught up from laundry and just different things, and I wasn't feeling very good. And the one thing I did realize was that it was a lot of the symptoms I display when I have depression were kind of rearing their ugly head, and I wasn't paying attention to them because I was paying attention to the babies. So before I get into, I wanted to share some of my symptoms in case you have these, and just to kind of let you know some of the things I try to do to consciously battle them. And then I'll share some of the things I do. I won't share too many specifics, but I wanted to do a disclaimer that I'm not a medical professional. I am not a psychology professional. I'm just a person who has struggled with depression since I was 10 years old. And I was 10 the first time I tried to self-delete. And it has been a really long time since I've tried to do that. I can't remember anything in the last 20 years, which is good. But for me, the biggest kind of alarm that goes off is if I ever say I want to die, because I have removed that from my vocabulary, and anytime I say that, alarm bells start to go off, because that is not something I say. And I think something to know, if you know somebody who says they have depression but you don't know what that is, most people, so when your brain is working right, it is logical for you to have a sense of self-preservation where you will do anything and everything in your power to survive. And depression disables that mechanism in your body and in your brain. And depression is really like an ugly friend that just is constantly telling you you're not good enough and that the world would be better off without you. And I think that's where sometimes, I'm not a religious person just because, well, I'll try to put it in a nutshell. So my parents weren't married when I was born, and I grew up in a small town that was probably Catholic was dominant. So going to church and different things like that, I always felt like I didn't belong because I was born out of wedlock. And that used to be a thing that carried a lot of weight with me, so that when Victoria was born, it was very important that we were married, and that, and it was also very important to me that this was a one-time thing. We're married forever. I'm not saying that's for everybody. Those are decisions and choices you have to make for yourself. But those were very important things to me. And so anyway, to the depression part, some of the things that were kind of leaking out during the week that we were all sick was I was being really ugly. And the sad part was I was kind of reverting back to behaviors I experienced as a child, not as bad, but just saying ugly things and mean things and things I would not, that are not okay with me to say. So, and a lot of it was well, part of it was I haven't been taking my vitamins and doing things that I used to do on a regular basis. And we've been eating kind of what we consider off the grid, where we've been eating junk food, fast food, just all the things that make us feel like crap. So just some of the anger and the stuff that was coming out was like led to me and my husband having some difficult conversations with, you can't behave that way. And I was embarrassed and sad and remorseful that I was behaving that way, and I don't want to behave that way. And the reason why I'm sharing this is, if you know someone who struggles with depression and you're like, you know, one day you're a great person, the next day you're really ugly, it is somewhat out of their control, because when you're sick or you have a high stress or high pressure things going on, all of your conscious things that you do kind of go out the window, and you start reverting back to subconscious things that, you know, for lack of a better term, were programmed into you as a child, or in times that you felt this type of pressure, stress, and that's how you react. It's not because you want to react that way. It's just, it's a little bit outside of your control, but there are things you can do to bring it within your controls, the point I'm trying to get to. So just with that, you know, that was the big thing, was that I was just behaving in ways that are not the person I want to be now. The other thing was that a lot of people have trouble putting into words are dark thoughts. And for me, those dark thoughts aren't necessarily me harming myself or harming the children, but it's like, I'll give one example, and this is like when Joey was first, was an infant. He was like less than 3 months, and I was staying home, and we had the blinds open, and the way our blinds are kind of messed up on our bay window, and to reach the blind to get it to close is too high for me to reach, so I would have to step on something. Well, a smart person would have put the baby down, got something to stand on, and adjusted. What I did was I kept the baby in one arm. I stepped onto, we had a chase, that's kind of a curved chase. Stepped up on the chase to pull it. Came back down, everything went perfect. But as soon as I stepped down, all the images of what could have gone wrong, like dropping the baby, just horrible, I mean, you know, the worst possible scenario of dropping the baby, started flashing through my head, and were kind of like not letting me go. And I had to kind of talk them down that Joey is safe, I am safe, everything is fine. That was a poor choice to make, but we're doing good now. So it's things like that's kind of the best example I can come up with. But like recently, it was like the kids falling down the stairs. So God knows for what reason Joey kept going up the stairs by himself, and he can. He's 3.5. He's really good, and most of the time he holds onto the rails or the spindles on the stairs. But he was giving me like major, spikes of anxiety of just, oh my God, you're gonna, fall and die. And it was noticing some of those things kind of just amping up. And that used to be one of my things too, is like, especially when I was on medication with, maybe I need to adjust medication, is if I would get these high spikes of anxiety, like I couldn't ride in the car. because I would be breaking for my husband, and he hates that so bad, and I feel so terrible, and he understands, but just the anxiety would be, I mean, we're going 20 miles an hour through a school zone, and I'm having a spaz attack. So, so those are kind of my big triggers, or my big flashing signs for depression. So the way I manage my depression now, and I've been doing this since before I got pregnant with Joey, is because I stopped antidepressants, or the antidepressant I was on was something you couldn't be on when you're pregnant, and I didn't want to try something else and have to adjust to it. So I changed my diet, and the diet I followed was a bulletproof diet. Some similar diets are like keto, caveman diet, the wild diet. But when I was eating pretty much no processed foods and all fresh, good foods, I was feeling really, really great. And I'd also started taking different vitamins and supplements to, and I used to take this one called Stressify. Even when I was on the antidepressant, that used to really help too with the anxiety. And I don't know if they still make it. They had stopped making it for a while. So I basically went and found the label and tried to get the vitamins to match that. So I take vitamins. I also take a couple of supplements. One is L-tyrosine and 5-HTP. If you want to look those up, research them. And my advice is, if you start doing vitamins and if you're not doing them, add a new supplement per week and see how it makes you feel. I had a weird reaction to iodine. I kept hearing iodine was good for thyroid, and my thyroid numbers were a little bit wonky. And I got really moody. I mean, like huge mood swings. And then I had this weird sensation of like burning under my skin, like on my arms and on my hand here. And I don't know why that was how I reacted, but yeah, it was just weird, because it took me a few days to kind of notice and put two and two together. And then when I stopped the iodine, immediately, like 24 hours later, I'm fine. No more huge mood swings, or that sensation went away. Physical activity. One of the things that most people don't know about physical activity is if you get to a certain level, you release dopamine. Your brain will release dopamine, which is a little bit of a high. It feels good. And for me, I don't need to do a lot, like a 15-minute walk and just getting kind of my heart pumping. And when I walk, I'm paying attention to where I'm walking and the things I'm doing, so I'm not as in my head about my problems or stuff that has to be done. The other thing is finding things to spark joy, little things like, one of the things I noticed, I used to love watching TV, and I've cut it out almost completely. Well, we have the TV on, but we watch Disney movies for the kids, we watch different songs, I watch a lot of self-help or personal development stuff now. But one of the things in kind of analyzing what I used to watch, some of the TV shows I would watch would heighten different emotions, like different love emotions, and like I used to like things that had the romance and story, that love story to it, but also some would kind of feed into the anxiety with the cliffhangers and what's going to happen next, and I would get really obsessive, and like Game of Thrones was a good example of that. So in relations to sparking joy, pay attention to the things you're doing. Like if you play video games to relax, does it make you relax? Or do you get more stressed or more agitated or more anxious trying to get to the next level in the game? Or are you enjoying it? Or is it bringing up those dopamine levels? Just something to keep in mind. And then the last thing that I do that has really helped a lot is meditation. And Joe Dispenza talks about this thing that a lot of people give up on meditation because their mind and body are like, I need to go do this, or I do that, or I gotta go to the bathroom, I'm hungry. And it's all these things kind of trying to prevent them from meditating. And he says, and this is something that really landed with me, was that means it's working. Just keep trying, keep bringing your thoughts back, to whatever you're meditating on. A lot of times I just try to clear my mind so that I'm just kind of in a place of peace and calm. And one of the things I've kind of started doing in my meditation is visualizing myself just like floating in a river, and that it's just, I'm floating by beautiful things, and beautiful things are floating by me like flowers, or I see a butterfly go by, and I try to get things that are just make me feel happy, or I try to visit places in my mind that used to made me happy at different points in my life. Lately I've been sitting, there's this one place we sat at Disney World to eat while we were eating, but it's got a beautiful view of the castle. And I just imagine myself just sitting there and looking at the castle, and that it just watching the castle and people go by and just feeling happy. So, yeah, so that's all I have. I just, this went a lot longer than I meant for it to be. So thanks for staying this long, and I hope you find this helpful or insightful, or just learn a little bit more about me. I've been taking my supplements every day for a week, and I've been feeling better. I haven't quite got my physical activity to where my health goals want it to be, but we'll get there. And just, thanks for stopping by. Leave me a comment, say hello. I really want to grow this channel and make this something more uplifting, and I'm still learning how to show up here and how to have a voice and what do I want to talk about, and I just want to be genuine and authentic, and yeah, so that's me. But all right, I've got to go, and if you want to, please like this video, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and please share if you think this can help someone you know. All right, bye.